Hi everyone, Jolene here from Bookworm Adventure Girl. Welcome back. In today's Mondays with Margaret episode, we will be talking about 4 of Margaret Atwood's children's books. This is another one of those times where we are going to talk about the books kind of out of order of publication. We've been trying to keep them in order of publication, but we are currently in 1995, which is when last week's book, Strange Things, was originally published, and the week before, the poetry collection Morning in the Burned House was also published. And that same year, Atwood also published a book called Princess Prunella and the Purple Peanut. So we will be talking about this book. And then in 2003, Rude Ramsay and the Roaring Radishes was published. And that was followed up in 2004 with Bashful Bob and Doleful Dorinda. And in 2006, there was a reprint of Atwood's first children's book, Up in the Tree, which we have already read, and we did a video about that earlier. And then in 2011, Wandering Wenda and Widow Wallop's Wonderground Washery was published. So the last 3 alliterative stories were published again in A Trio of Tolerable Tales in 2017. So we will be looking at the 3 of these books as well. And then also at the end of this video, since it is the first Monday of the month, I will be going over the 4 books that we will be reading in September. So Princess Prunella and the Purple Peanut is not just a fun alliterative title, but the entire story has several P words and SP words. And I'm going to read maybe just like the first 2 pages to give you an idea. And first I'll mention that there's this lovely dedication from Atwood to her mother and her daughter. It says, "For my mother who read to me and my daughter who got read to." And the illustrator of this one is Mary Ann Kowalski. So yeah, I'll just read. You could probably open it to any of the pages and just start reading so that you get the idea. But Princess Prunella lived in a pink palace with her pin-headed parents, Princess Patty and Prince Peter, her 3 plump pussycats, Patience, Prue, and Pringle, and her puppy dog, Pug. Princess Prunella was proud, prissy, and pretty, and unhappily very spoiled. She would never pick up her playthings, plump her pillows, or put away her pens, pencils, and puzzles. Instead, after her breakfast of prunes and porridge and her pineapple and passion fruit punch, presented in a copper cup painted with porpoises and spiders, she would parade around all day in puffy petticoats sprinkled with sparkling pink sequins, a peculiar pilly polo-necked pullover, a pair of pale purple pumps with peonies on the insteps, and a pinafore printed with pansies and petunias, slurping peppermints and peering at her dimples in a pocket mirror. "I am perfectly pretty," she would say. "When I grow up, I will marry a pin-headed prince with piles of pin money, who will praise me and pamper me and adore me as much as I do." The pictures in this are fun and with interesting characters, and the entire story is written like that. So there is a play on words and a bit of a tongue twister, but also the story itself has a moral. So Princess Prunella is a spoiled princess who looks at herself all day, thinking she is pretty and perfect, and she never thinks of others. She always sees anything that goes wrong as someone else's fault, until a wise woman comes to see Princess Prunella under the guise that she is poor and would like some porridge. But Princess Prunella just sees her as unworthy and only as a bother. So the wise woman casts a spell on Princess Prunella, and her nose becomes a peanut that keeps growing every day until she does 3 good deeds. So the first tale in a trio of tolerable tales is Rude Ramsay and the Roaring Radishes. And if read aloud, the story gives your mouth quite a workout with all of the R words. Rude Ramsay is an outcast from his family, and his only friend is a rat. And Ramsay is tired of eating bad food, and he complains about it all the time. And he and his friend, the rat, go looking for better food, and they find radishes. But these radishes aren't like regular radishes, and they revolt. So Ramsay ends up making friends with a new girl who has a nicer place to live and better food, but no family. And there's a bit of a technology twist that's brought into this story, which I thought was quite interesting, and really a twist that I didn't see coming. So the alliteration continues in Bashful Bob and Doleful Dorinda. And this time you get alliteration with 2 letters, which was a bit of a nice change. So Bob is a baby abandoned at birth who is raised by dogs, and Dorinda is a Cinderella character whose parents are missing in a disaster. When Dorinda decides to change her circumstances, she leaves, she runs away, and she finds Bob, who is now a boy, and she decides to help him. They become friends, and ultimately, in the end, everything turns out fine. And it's interesting to see how Atwood brings, the 2 alliterations together in some of her sentences. So, for example, on page 34, this is when they first meet, when Bob and Dorinda first meet. One dark, drizzly December day, Dorinda departed. She packed some donuts and deplorable dairy products and several extra dust mops into a discarded duffel bag. I defy doubt, she declared. Destiny, however distressing, will not defeat me. I disdain despair. Drenched by a downpour, dragging her duffel bag and dreadfully bedraggled, doleful Dorinda was trudging doggedly across Bashful Bob's vacant block when she heard a bark. 2 bright but blinking eyes were beaming from behind a bush. Dorinda bent back a branch. It was not a dog, but a bashful boy. The third tale, Wandering Wenda and Widow Wallop's Wonderground Washery, also has characters who have no parents. Wandering Wenda's parents went missing in a weird whirlwind, and it also has animals as friends, as Wandering Wenda befriends a woodchuck that she names Wesley. And I was waiting for the woodchuck tongue twister, but it never came. The villain in this story is Widow Wallop, who makes children work in the Wonderground Washery. And it probably won't be a surprise to you that the animals, and the children, work together to gain their freedom. And Atwood is big on showing how the relationship with nature needs to be balanced. So this was kind of neat how she did that here. So all 4 of these stories are fun with clever alliteration. Princess Prunella is, I think, for a younger audience. And I would say that the other 3 tales are a little bit older. They have parents drinking wine or rum or whiskey, which I thought was interesting. And I've never heard Atwood talk about her children's books, and we have now read all of them. So I would like to know where the inspiration came from, especially for these ones, because her daughter had been grown, and here she is still writing children's books, which I'm very happy about. As I said at the beginning of this video, we will be adding 4 books to our reading schedule. So on September 6th, we will be continuing the Mad Adam trilogy with the second novel, The Year of the Flood, which was originally published in 2009. And then on September 13th, we have a non-fiction book called In Other Worlds, SF, which is for speculative fiction, and The Human Imagination. And this was originally published in 2011. Then on September 20th, we will be finishing up the Mad Adam trilogy with the final book, Mad Adam, originally published in 2013. And the last book in September will be on September the 27th, and it is a short story collection called Stone Mattress, originally published in 2014. So let me know if you've read any of these children's books. I know on Instagram many people have commented saying that, they didn't even know that Atwood wrote children's books. So I think that it's great to be able to read all of her work and see how diverse she is. So maybe even let me know generally what you think about children's books. Do you have, a favorite or a favorite children's book author. And as always, I will be putting everything in the description box below, and I will add to our schedule. I look forward to chatting with you in the comments. Thank you again for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and don't forget to make every day an adventure.